Well, I think probably the best way I can describe how it started is the sign that's on the front of the building that says, "What's your story?" And what I've learned, because I have to admit I wasn't a historian, was that instead of a building full of old stuff, a museum tells stories.
So for about 10 years we've been talking. You know, Dave Gordon, our president, he was a civil engineer, knew some things about how to build, and he said, I think I can do this, but I don't know where the money would come from, you know, and me, I'm the grant writer, I said, don't worry about the money, then we'll find the money. Sometimes I feel the stars aligning, and Frank Smoot was one of those, because when I first met him, I came in to talk to him and tell him my story about who I was and what I believed, and I found out that he knew a lot of Ojibwe history, and he knew, you know, many of the stories I'm telling him he knew, and he could add to them.
A lot of museum people, museum professionals, think of a museum as a repository of material culture. That's the phrase. And so material culture is just stuff that we've ever used, right? And so we want to preserve that for future generations, and that's important. But the public, I think, wisely sees it as a storytelling device. That's really the key to what makes a museum relevant.
Our artifacts are designed to tell the stories of those people who were significant in the development of the Chippewa Valley.
I think when people see it, they're amazed. We're amazed. We're still pinching ourselves when we walk around here. How beautiful the building is, and how Chippewa Falls has such a rich history.
This is a community gathering point. I hope when people think of north central Wisconsin and the Chippewa Valley, this is a place they want to come to see. And the reason I hope they want to come to see it is because there are so many stories to be told. There's so much to learn from this facility.
We learn probably not what to do from history as much as we learn what to do from history. And so, you know, I don't think I appreciated as a younger person the importance of history, because what I remember about history was remembering dates. You know, if you're going to pass this course in history, you got to remember these dates. And it's like, I could care less. But what happened is more important than when it happened.
This young couple, they're going down the stairs, and I'm coming up the stairs. They have no idea who I am. And the guy is saying, did you know that they flooded, when they put in the dam at Winter Dam, they flooded an area that had 25,000 pounds of wild rice? And I was like, dang, we did something here, you know? This is just a young couple coming into a museum, and they didn't have any idea who I was, you know? And so that, I think that's going to be the key finally to get us to understand that, one, Ojibwe people are still here, and two, that they're folks like us. They've had great challenges, they've had great opportunities, and they're great survivors, you know?
The dams changed the face of the Chippewa Valley. Part of it is, without the dams, we never would have developed. The logging required dams to support that industry. That industry has some dark components to its legacy.
Columbus was a man who was looking for new markets. He thought he was going to India. And when he saw the people on Hispaniola, he was lost, and he called them Indians. Yeah. And we got a little joke in Indian country that we're glad he wasn't looking for turkey.
We have a finite amount of space, even in a big place like this, with 18,000 square feet. But we have an infinite amount of time, and that's a luxury. And a lot of museums don't take advantage of the greatest luxury they have, which is to change their stories over time, and so that people can learn more and more and more and more. Because a lot of museums, I think, they finally become irrelevant. But a museum that changes all the time becomes more relevant with every iteration, with every change that it makes.
So when the French came, they asked the women, what do you call yourselves? And they said, oh, Chippewa. and they thought the women said Chippewa, and so they wrote that down. Even our tribe right now is called the Lake Superior Chippewa.
One issue is, how does the Native culture feel? Do they feel they've been recognized, that there's acknowledgement for mistakes that have been made in the past? So I think there's one piece of that where the Native culture is looking for that recognition and that acknowledgement in order for them to heal.
Well, you know what's happening in our world today. The racism is always right somewhere under a rock or something. Might be gone for a while, but as soon as something comes up where people can teach hate, they will.
The thing that we can do is fight the good fight. I'm old enough to remember a time where people would disagree with each other and then go on. And right now, in this very moment, in these last few years, these last 5 years, say, we're in this moment where we can't. We disagree and then we can't go on. We stew in it. We saute ourselves.
I think all of the things that we're living through today, where people are unhappy and demonstrating and getting in fights and all of that sort of stuff, is hard to accept. And maybe I'm not helping, but some of it is just, hey, let's slow down a little bit. Maybe walking through a museum is a way to start doing that.
This is a carry forward mission. We don't want to just become a facility that just collects things. We want it to be an experience where people come and get excited and walk away with new ideas or new thoughts or new hopes or new dreams.
Do I hope that we learn from history? Yeah. And so the museum is a place to tell about history. And so could we benefit from that? I hope so. If we don't, we're wasting our time.
Thank you.